Good evening. It's Tuesday, the 10th of November in 2015. My name is Michelle Christie and I'm the Program Manager and I manage the TAE course. I'm conducting a online tutorial tonight relating to study period 1. We've only got one attendee at the moment, Pamela, so I'm going to unmute you. I hope that's okay. We can have a chat. Hi Pamela, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That's good.
Very good.
Excellent. And what brings you to the tutorial tonight?
I guess checking in to make sure that I'm progressing relatively okay and just picking up some tips from anybody and
Fantastic.
yeah, listening.
And how long have you been in study period 1 for?
Only a couple of
Okay,
weeks.
I'm just starting out.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, Alicia's just joined us, so I'm just going to unmute Alicia as well. Hi, Alicia, how are you tonight?
Hi, good, thanks.
That's good.
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Right, sorry, this is my first webinar.
Oh, that's okay.
Mine too.
Excellent. Yay. And Alicia, how long have you been in study period 1 for?
I joined today.
Oh, brilliant. Oh,
Yeah, like I just joined it all today and I've just been playing around with it. So I am completely overwhelmed, but so I thought I'd just join in and
yep, that's
carry on.
when you start out in this course, or any course really, it's normal to feel a little bit overwhelmed when you're first starting out. As time goes on and you progress and you get some assessments under your belt, that feeling does dissipate. Now, study period 1 is probably one of our hardest study periods. So if you're kind of looking at things and freaking out a little bit, don't. Reach out, speak to myself, speak to Mohammed. We're here to help you. There's a lot of foundational information in study period 1, and a lot of it relates to vet. We have a very heavily regulated industry, and so there's a lot to know. Some of the information is obviously relevant for the entire course. Some of it is relevant for your assessment in study period 1. So when you're reading the materials and the assessments, if something doesn't make sense, like just ask us. We're happy to give you a bit more context as to what that means. And if things aren't completely making sense, it's okay. Don't try and force the learning. Some students think that they have to know everything and understand everything before you start the assessments. That is so not the case. You will learn throughout the assessment process. And there will be things that, as you progress through the course, like you'll get light bulb moments in study period 2, study period 3, study period 4. And as we progress through the course, it will become a lot more clear as to what is required or what you've learnt in study period 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We've got a few other attendees. We've got Colleen. I'm just going to unmute you, Colleen. How are you tonight?
Good. Can you hear me?
I certainly can. Welcome.
Thank you.
And what are you working on in study period 1 at the moment, Colleen?
I've just completed and been marked passed for my SP1, the first one. Although if you know how long it's taken.
That's good.
I've had personal commitments, ridiculous really. I shouldn't have read because she used to study, but anyway, got through that and now so I feel much more confident about doing the next one in SP1, and then I'll be done because I've done the online courses as well.
Okay, great. Excellent. And I've also got Charlie. Just unmute Charlie as well. Hi, Charlie.
Hi.
How are you today?
Good.
Good. Charlie's also another newbie. He started, was about 2-3 weeks ago, I think. And Charlie, how are you going with the learning materials? Have you finished reading the workbooks?
I half of the
Okay.
the two are in euros.
Ah.
Very it's backwards, forwards. A lot of things is said. repeated itself, I think.
Yes, there is a bit of duplicity between the two workbooks. Great. So I don't think we've got no one else here at the moment, which is fantastic. So we've got a few newbies. We've got Colleen who just finished her first assessment. So the floor's kind of open. What would you like to talk about or go through with me in our time together tonight? Would you like to go through some content? Would you like to work on some activities? Would you like me to go through the assessments? What would you like from me?
I was just going to listen, actually.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, it's Pamela here. I think I've been progressing okay through the activities, but it's now dawned upon me that maybe I'm doing too much of them and I might need to get a little bit more insight into preparing to do the assessments. I've just been working through this, I think it's a 61 unit. I haven't touched the other one because I've just got like 60 pages here. I was just thinking I'm a bit like I need to take one step and then complete that and then go on to the next step. I'm a bit structured in my learning like that. So I thought if I look at 2 units, I'll be like, Okay.
So when it comes to the learning, there's obviously 2 workbooks you'll find in study period 1. Now, in order for you to do the assessments, they're actually clustered. So you do need to read both of the workbook before you move on to the assessments. Now, when it comes to the activities, they aren't mandatory. They're peer reviewed. So, try and not spend a lot of time on the activities. Some of them do relate to the assessment. Some of them are great to know just about the vet industry. So try not to spend a lot of time on the activities. You will, as I said, learn through the assessment process as well. So if you're a structured learner, I'm very much similar. I have to learn everything before I attempt the assessments. So my suggestion would be read the second workbook. If you want to do some of the activities, great. But if there's some content that you're reading and you go, oh, I understand that, move on to the next topic. And then you can...
I have found the activities really beneficial though to sort of cement that knowledge in, because as well as just reading, I sort of benefit best in my learning style from being a bit hands-on and doing stuff, so the activities have been really good for that.
Right. But do keep in mind the assessment will be a learning curve for you as well.
Okay.
I have a question.
Sure,
can I ask?
Yeah, absolutely.
According instruction from Muhammad,
yes.
I don't know, is a correct provided information for us. He says, assume we actually working on that industry, on the industry, which is training industry, and then we need to get a practical, real training material to do assessment. Is that true or false?
Okay, so to do your assessment, you do need to create a learning program for a client. Now, that client could be your workplace, it could be a business that you know of, it could be the case study in the assessment. What client you choose and what target learners within that client or business you choose is really up to you. Now, what you are actually looking at is what are the skill gaps or knowledge gaps. There's obviously something you're trying to address, and that's why you're putting a training program together. And you'll need to use what's called training.gov.au, there's a website, to find a training package that relates to those skill gaps for that client. So yes, what you said is correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Can I?
Yeah?
Yeah, it's Alicia. Sorry.
That's okay.
So I've just joined in today, and this is my first whole aspect of this training. What I am trying to do is there's 2 aspects to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to develop my own business at the minute to do puppy training for the general public to run puppy classes
Great.
over 4 weeks, 1 hour a week structure. So it doesn't have to be a national recognised training, but it needs to be. I want to improve my ability to teach other people in a group situation. And the other aspect of what I'm doing is that I'm hoping to get a job with open colleges at some point in doing the vet nursing training.
Staff in that area. So
yeah.
good.
So I've been a vet nurse for 13 years, and like so. But my question is, it might sound dumb because, as I said, it's my first day. I have tried to look at a bit of the FAQ stuff, but I wouldn't say that I've probably done a good job at that. With the toolboxes,
yes.
What is so I've got that we have the activities and we don't have to do all them. I get that. With the toolboxes are just extra information to go in conjunction with what's in the workboxes, but we don't actually have to go through and read all the stuff in the toolboxes.
Some students find that the toolboxes are fantastic, and some of them have just gone through everything within the toolbox and not used the workbook because there's similar information in both. They like that visual. There's a lot of context around what's in the toolbox. Whereas other students have gone, you know what, I don't like the toolbox, I get what's in the workbook. So there's kind of a few different ways you can cut the cake in this course. So if you want to go through the workbook, great. If you want to use the toolbox, that's fine. Either way, as long as you know what you need to do in order to get your assessments done, that's the main thing.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if because the first thing it tells you to do in the workbook is go to the toolbox. So I was like, sorry, it just disappeared.
Yeah, it's just supplementary information there. So
okay, cool. All right, so I don't have to worry about it.
Not unless you want to.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Sorry, that was my main question. I'm just going to go back to listening.
Don't
worry, everyone.
No, please, everyone, ask as many questions as you like. This is your session. I'm here to engage, give you clarity in what you're studying at the moment. So please don't say sorry. Ask as many questions as you like. There's no such thing as a silly question in my classroom, so please ask away.
Thank you.
You're very
It's Colleen here again. Hi. I'm just wanting to ask one thing. I know I don't actually work in an RTO. I've done lots of training in a specialised product for years, a therapy product.
Okay.
And that's why I'm doing this, because I've been asked professionally to just do some training on this product with another company.
Okay.
So I have to have this. They expect a Cert 4.
Sure.
I just noticed moving on in the training, they're asking for you to present material that I will never actually use, and I was thinking, in my development of some of my material, can it be just related to what I'm going to do, even though it is not and will probably never be associated with an RTO. It's just within my own industry, which is tiny. We're actually a new industry into the market, and it's a complementary therapy.
Okay.
So it's just that's really where I'm at with it. I'm just curious about moving on with it in terms of those ideas.
Now, interestingly enough, we have two different types of cohorts in the TAE course. We've got people who are working in their workplace, just like you are, and you're training because your workplace has said you need to have Cert 4 training assessment as part of your job. So you're training people or customers on about a training session on a product, on a system, giving information, policies, procedures. Like there's so many things that you could potentially be training on in your workplace. And that's what we call training and development, or T&D, or learning development, L&D, or HR development, HRD. The second cohort we have within the TAE course are all vet specifics. So these are people who are required to have Cert 4 training and assessment to be a trainer and or assessor in an RTO. So when this course has been put together by IBSA, who's our Industry Skills Council, they've very much marketed it towards the vet context. So it's all about working in an RTO, training in an RTO. Right. So there's lots of a lot of workplaces out there that are stipulating you have to have training and assessment, But because you don't obviously work with training packages, you're not an RTO, there's a lot of things you don't have to deal with. That being said, though, because it is a Cert 4 training assessment, if down the track you decided you wanted to change jobs, you could go and work in an RTO and use training packages because you
Right.
do that stuff. So what I would suggest is think about if you are in a workplace, you're in a TD, L&D or HRD situation, have a look at what you're actually training in your workplace or assessing or evaluating. Try and find a unit of competency or a skill set or even a qualification. I'm not sure how big your training programs are, but either of those would be fine, that aligns to the training package. You know, like aromatherapy, you have a look in training.gov, you actually find there's quite a lot of units about training, about aromatherapy. If it's complementary medicines, there's lots of things about that as well. So use what you've got and try and align that to units of competency. There will be some study periods. For example, study period 2 is all about training. You can actually train what you train now. It doesn't have to align to the training package, but some of the units align to training packages. So in that case, you do have to try and get it aligned where possible.
Right. Okay. That was my question, I guess, for a study period too. Looking ahead, I'd filmed myself training because I do 3 days in a row and then another, and so it's not a problem to get the time up and video. Sorry, I know I'm jumping the gun here in terms
That's right.
of what we're discussing here, but I just thought, gee, even though is it even valid because it's not actually technically related to a
Definitely.
you know.
It's still related
to the.
For example, if I decided down the track I wanted to work in T&D, now I've got my training assessment, so as long as I understand that industry or that workplace, I could train in that workplace. So it kind of goes vice versa. You know, you could go either either.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great
All
to have.
All right.
Because once you've got it, anything you're knowledgeable in or you've got industry currency in, you can train it.
Yes, for sure.
It's not. I don't just I can't speak. I don't just train TAE. There are other things that I can train. Like I can do business. I can do frontline management. I can do business admin. I can do sustainability. I can do community pharmacy. I can do retail. So the more qualifications or industry experience you have, the more things you can train in, and it makes you a very attractive employee for potential recruiters.
Good. All right, thank you.
That's okay.
Can you see me?
No, the only person everyone can just see me. I'm the only one sharing my webcam.
I'm glad actually.
In your jammies.
I can sip my tea quietly.
So this is my hope.
Well, one thing I found is quite important for students, based on my previous study experience. I mean, online, that's fine. You learn by yourself. You have your own pace. However, face-to-face meeting, even student and face-to-face meeting, still very important.
Yep.
How do we get that? Because I try to engage some students similar level, high, lower, doesn't really matter.
Okay.
In my area, I don't have any success. So even when not come to the learning open college, we can set a coffee shop or even a supermarket in the shopping center. We can make like a 30 to 40 minutes discuss when we do the exercise, when we do the assignment. It will be very beneficial. So how do we do that? You have any recommendation for that?
Sorry, you're suggesting that students get together, was that right?
Yeah, face-to-face meeting. Or do you have like a meeting room in the open college? I know we can book and have a face-to-face meeting and don't have to be with the trainer and but each student, like a student work group or something like this. No or yes? Everyone's
a little bit different when it comes to study buddies. Like I've got a study buddy with what I'm studying at the moment as well. And we usually talk via Skype or we text each other, we email. So we very rarely have face-to-face meetings because we're both so busy. We both work full time, and when you've got assignments and learning to do on top of family and work, it gets a bit tricky. But that's to say, I was going to encourage you, like we've got a few new starters. You're all kind of in the same boat, or most of you are at the moment. So if you're happy to be a study buddy with each other, why don't you write your email address or put your details in the chat function on the left-hand side of your GoToMeeting panel. You guys can set up a time to talk, whether that be, if you want to go to meeting session or you use Google Hangouts or Skype. There are so many tools that you can use if you're wanting to. So if you're happy to, share information, please do. You're amongst friends right now. Study buddies are great though. There's been times where, I'm not understanding something or my study buddy's not understanding something, and we'll talk it through and give each other clarity on things. And the only thing I would ask is that you don't share assessments with each other. It's kind of important. We have something called the Student Code of Conduct. And, we have had instances in the past, touch wood, nothing recently, where students have shared information or shared assessments and, it's come up being plagiarised. So study great
work. Yeah. That's no good. Right, okay.
Actually, you're right.
Yeah.
So what has happened is very hard to share assessment because each one came from different industry. And so, for example, I came from IT industry. My assessment will definitely focus on IT. If someone from the nursing industry, I have no way to share at least the core material or the material information. No one can share. But methodology, yes.
Yeah.
That's the reason you guys keep methodology.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. There's been students who, I've taken your assignment and I changed the front page to say my name, but your name's all through the assignment. So, that kind of thing. So, like I said, it hasn't happened for a long time and I hope it doesn't happen again soon. But there have been students who, have uploaded assessments into the forum thinking that's what they need to do, and, I've had to quickly delete it for them and say, please don't. I'm sorry to have to delete that. There are other students out there that will literally steal your work. So, it's important to protect your own assessment work.
Absolutely, because I look at someone who does paste or post entire assessment through the chat.
Yeah.
But because she then analyzes got a good score. But then I only learn is her methodology, because I have no idea what the nursing industry is. I have no idea what's the junior college or what it is.
Yeah.
I only know is my IT. So other people probably have no idea what the hell the IT it is. So in the raw material,
yes,
I don't think that I can share. But the methodology, the way she presents, the way she tackle the issues, the way she address the issues. That's we're supposed to learn from the course. Everyone should be the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. There are assessments. Formative assessments do go through some of the assessment, the actual final assessment, but it doesn't go through everything. Now, you will find in the news forum, which is in study period 1, if you guys can see my screen right now, right down the bottom, there is a news forum.
I just wondered what was going on. I'm like, did I bump a button?
No, So at the bottom of the screen, there is a news forum, and I actually have examples in there on some of the templates within your assessments.
Yeah. God. Oh. So if I created So you're saying that basically there's two different ways of educating developed in this course. There's the group training kind of stuff, and then there's actual like vocational educational training. So if I wanted to have like an employee or an assistant in the education of the class, I could use the assessments to create an employee like standard, and versus what the information is I'm actually going to teach to the participants in the class that are more client-based general public. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so when it comes to this assessment, so study period one's all about course design. So you've probably enrolled in TAE thinking you're going to be training, you might be assessing, and that's what you're focused on. TAE has three main areas that it focuses on. One is training, two is assessing, and three is design. So study period one is all about design because it actually starts the process of everything else. So what would normally happen is a client might come to an RTO, for example, and say, we've got a big bucket of money, we need to have training to fix up a staff issue. It might be productivity or conflict in the workplace, you name it, could be anything. And so the RTO will have a conversation with the client and say, who are your staff? Tell us a little bit about your workplace. What are you trying to address? How would you like us to train your staff? How would you like assessment to occur? Yada, yada, yada. If it was in a workplace, a colleague would walk up to another colleague and say, right, we've got an issue we need to address. Let's put a training program together for this particular team. Either way, it's the same process. You need to find out about the team, how and when should the training occur, costs involved, that kind of thing, who's going to train. So there's a lot of information you need to collate before actually design the training program. From there, basically then you would need to put a draft program together. And this is what the assessment is helping you with. So you actually put a draft together. It might be induction program. It could be, a 6 or 12 month training program for staff who need refreshers. You name it. Could be any program. Could be a 1 day training program or a half day. You name it. You've got a lot of flexibility in this. So from there, after you've done your draft, you would do a final version. You probably need to talk to some people and go, what do you think of my draft? Get some feedback. You might need to rejig your draft a little bit if you want to. And then from there, you'd be designing learning materials. So things like maybe a PowerPoint, getting some handouts, tailoring the sessions for the staff.
So I can reuse, when I did my AIRC, like Animal Industry Resource Centre, I had to do a session on training others. It was only like one subject, but I had to create like 2 training programs for pathology lab work, and so I can basically just reuse a lot of that stuff that I've already done. Is that what?
Yeah, absolutely. I highly encourage you, if you are in the workplace, you're training people already, if you've got workplace documentation that you can use, absolutely use them where possible. You might need to rejig it slightly. As I said, make sure they align to units of competency, but absolutely use as much as you can. Make it relevant to your own workplace and your own job role, if that helps you.
Yeah, at the minute I'm basically unemployed, so but I've been in the industry for like 13 years and I've got all this other stuff, so I'll just use that. That's fine. Thank you. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's all fine. So, there are a lot of things that we kind of go through before we actually set up the training. Now, once that's signed off and either the workplace or the client are happy with the training program we put together, obviously then people would go and train. Now, as the course designer, we'd be going off and doing more course design. It's a specific role that some people take. So course designers design courses, trainers train, assessors assess. Sometimes you're a trainer and assessor, but they're slightly different roles. So there are specific things that will happen. Now, once the training's occurred, then you'd go and assess. And you make sure that the students or candidates as they're called in assessment, actually have the knowledge and skills that you've trained them in. And then we'll be doing a lot of evaluation at the end just to check, did that training program work? So that's kind of taking you through study period 1 to study period 4 within this course. So it's taking you through a process. So study period 1 to 4 is mandatory. Study period 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9, they're all your electives. So you don't actually have to do all 9 study periods. Most people do only 5 or 6. Just depends on the electives that they've chosen.
So once I submit my assessments for SP1, and that'll then like refresh and give me the next lot of reading material. Is that right?
Yeah. So what I'd suggest is do assessment 1 first. So 30060. Submit that. Do 3006-101 after that. Once you've done your
Sorry, can you just repeat what you said? The 306.
They're just down here. So it's 30060/01 and there's 30061/02. So your portfolios, do 1, submit that, then start on the second. Don't do 1 and 2 concurrently. It's going to create confusion. Get clarity with 1, submit it, and then as you're waiting for assessment results, start on the second one. And by then you'll get feedback on the first one, so that'll improve your grade for the second one.
Okay.
Once you've done all 4 assessments, which is here in the upload section, then study period 2 will open up for you. And study period 2 is all about training delivery. So it's training people in the workplace, so training people one-on-one, and it's also about training groups. So you might have a training room, you might train in the workplace, you might train in a hotel, you might train outside with different groups of people.
Okay.
Floor is open, guys. Questions?
Just a very simple question. I'm on to the second, was it 30061? Is that 30061?
Yep.
And it's to do with the dentistry, dental assistant course. I'm just picking what the assessment's given me to work with.
Mm-hmm.
And part of our, in the other, we had to actually pick a trainer. We were given a handout of people just to make sure we knew which one to pick in terms of that they could actually train on that.
Okay.
It's very simple. There's no one on the list that does dentistry, but I notice Open Colleges do dental assistants. Can I use Open Colleges as my
Yes.
RTO?
Yes, I
Okay.
always encourage, if you're unemployed or you're not working in an RTO, always use Open Colleges as the RTO where possible. You can use our policies and procedures. If you go to the student lounge, when you first log into OpenSpace, there is a policies and procedures section, and where it says submit policies and procedures, find the ones that are relevant and use our policies and procedures.
Okay.
If you want to use another RTO, that's perfectly fine as well, but I mean, we're not checking to see if the RTO you've chosen has this particular qualification on scope. No, that's perfectly fine. We just assume in that assessment that that RTO, has that on scope and they're able to do X, Y, Z. So, use Open where you'd like to or need to within assessments.
Thank you.
It doesn't get you brownie points, but it does make sense because you can just go to our policies and grab them. So,
yeah. What was nice, one thing I did do, I sort of did when I was trying to find resources to actually build up my own training material. It was getting some samples from that. So, I bought some workbooks and things from a few people, and that's from a company, and small books, I think it was called, from anyway. It was helpful. Pardon?
Small print.
Small print.
Yeah.
I bought some material, but I noticed I don't think Open Colleges sells you that sort of material.
No, we don't use small print. I have used small print in the past.
Right.
I suppose each course is a little bit different. In TAE, we actually use IBSA's learning materials. IBSA is our Industry Skills Council, so they actually write the TAE. So we actually use their materials. We contextualize it slightly. We've changed the as well. So when it comes to learning materials for a training package, an RTO has two options. They can either write their own materials from scratch. I don't know about you, how you feel about writing a workbook from scratch, but it is not one of my strong points. You know, I get to certain pages and I'm like, am I done yet? Like, I don't enjoy writing a workbook from scratch. It's a timely and it's quite a costly exercise. So a lot of RTOs actually just go to an educational publisher. There's actually quite a lot of educational publishers in the industry, and they deal with a whole heap of different training packages. So if, for example, I was designing a new course, I could actually probably speak to a couple of different educational publishers, grab samples from them and see which it would suit my learning program the best. You know, whether it comes down to cost, visual appeal, content, whether it's digital or printed or bound or, you know, anything like that. So that we do have a few different options when it comes to resources. But if you are working through the resource evaluation template within Portfolio 1 or 2, see if you can find a free sample first. Please don't purchase them. You know, some of the content can be quite expensive, so where possible, try and find a free one. If you're having an issue, speak to myself or Mohammed. We can point you in the right direction.
All right, good.
You all right? Sorry, my cat just sneezed. He likes to involve
flu.
Let me introduce you. This is Fox the Chat Cat. Say hi. This is why I like doing my live chats from home, you know? Get a bit comfortable.
Very
Is
nice.
he a ragdoll? Or Berman?
No, he's a
I
ragdoll.
think he doesn't. Yeah, I was just going to say, he's got the white feet. I got that. Very nice.
Yeah, he's a steel point.
All right. Here, I, if you don't mind, I think I'll just sign off. I'm going to, because I wasn't too sure what. That was the one thing, or two things I wanted to ask, actually. So
absolutely. Well, if you've got any other questions, you know where to reach me or Mohammed.
I do. Thank you. Yes, Mohammed was really helpful when I was struggling.
Oh, fantastic.
Laying out a little bit of the study thing, because I found it a little bit overwhelming at first, just the structure.
That's normal.
Yep. It was really quite a thing.
Yep. So you'll knock out the second assessment pretty quickly from the sounds of it now?
Yeah, I think I will now. I feel like, I look at it now and I know exactly what it wants. Whereas before it was like, what's going on here? So, and your first comment to one of the new ones was, I actually went straight into the assessment, and that's how I learned.
Great.
I actually learned by doing the assessment.
Cool.
And I did have, I got a distinction. She gave me a distinction in the end. I had to. But I had to submit it 3 times because, again, I wasn't quite used to exactly what you were asking.
That's all right.
In some areas, you know, so it's like I needed that
Yep.
to submit, get corrected, to look at what I needed to do, and it was like a guided study, which actually I almost needed rather than trying to do it all myself. It was sort of a guided study process.
Well, Colleen, when you're getting close to submitting your second assignment, if you want to just message either myself or Mohammed, we'll get study period 2 open for you straight away. You can get some of your training sessions videoed.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. If at any time when you are studying the course, if you've got opportunities coming up, whether that be training, assessing, validating, making presentations, mentoring somebody, just let myself or Mohammed know. We can always wiggle things around slightly and get further study periods opened up for you to help, knock out an assessment fairly quickly. So we're always happy to do that where, if you've got something coming up.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, all the best to everyone, and who knows, we might bump into you all at another webinar.
May
Thanks,
I have
Elaine.
regarding the training assessment video, which assignment will require the training assessment video?
Sorry, say that again, Charlie?
I just mentioned the video,
Yeah.
right? So my understanding is the video is I have to be practically in the classroom and present or provide training to the audience.
Yeah, so
Correct.
there's actually two different units. So you have to train two different individuals in their workplace. So the group, the individual workplace session, they're usually about 15, 20 minutes. I could show someone how to use email, send an email, and I get them to practice it after I've shown them. So those sessions are usually fairly quick. You're just training two different people in the workplace. The second one, which is group-based training, is you need to get 3 or more people together, train them. It could be in a training room, it could be a meeting room, you might go to the library, could be a church hall somewhere, it could be in your lounge room. The venue isn't as pertinent with group-based training. And you need to train for about 40 to 60 minutes for 2 sessions. The third session is about 20 minutes, half an hour max. And it's on anything that you like. You might do changing a nappy or, art history or learning to sing. Could be customer service, you name it. Whatever you would like to train on is completely up to you.
No, this section, because this is just design, right?
You're doing
talk about the next.
Now. Yes, this is all in study period 2. So.
Okay. No, because I saw the
no videos right now. But when you do move into study period 2, that's when we start doing videos.
Oh, okay. All right. And I'll worry about it later.
That's it. Now, Sarah, you've also got your hand up. I'm just going to unmute you because...
Hi, I was just wondering.
Yes.
I've sort of missed little bits and pieces because my internet drops in and out. You were saying that if... Oh, sorry, I had it written down. Oops. Sorry, I'm getting lots of feedback.
Hey, Emma, I just unmuted Emma because she also joined us, but she's got a bit of background noise. So Emma, I do apologise. I'm just going to put you on mute for the moment. If you do want to have a chat, just put your hand up and we'll start a conversation.
So I was very motivated at the beginning and I got up to the assignment in the first week and was like, yes, I can do this, and then have done nothing.
Okay.
I've been trying to link in with friends who are teachers at TAFE to try and find a course or a subject. I'm in the early childhood industry, but I'm not actually looking for any training or any RTOs.
Okay.
So trying to find a subject to base that assignment on, I found difficult.
Okay, so are you in a childcare centre?
I'm actually in early intervention.
Okay. So what you could do is choose a workplace. Like it could be a childcare centre or it could be another company that you either work for or you know of, and they are going to be your client. Now what you are simulating is you're a course designer. You work for me at Open Colleges. Now you're designing a learning program for that particular workplace. Now the workplace has got staff, and those staff have issues, whether it be a knowledge or a skill or an ability gap. There's something they don't know or can't do. And so we're designing a program to suit, to address those needs.
Okay.
So you've got complete flexibility. If you want to do a learning program on one unit of competency, a skill set, an accredited course, an entire qualification, a couple of units of competency, it's completely up to you as long as it meets the needs of the client.
Oh, okay. So last year I did some adult education with childcare services where they approached our service to work out how to identify children with additional needs and who to refer the children to.
Oh.
I could adapt something like that. So it doesn't actually have to line up with what an RTO is currently delivering. Is that what you're saying?
You can just say, look, open colleges, we actually have early childhood on scope. Not that it matters, but you're just using us. If you can look at what you trained in, see if you can find a unit of competency that aligns to what you trained in, develop the program or rework your program to fit the templates that we've got there. That is perfectly fine.
Okay. Radio. Thank you.
Oh, welcome. Now, Pamela, you've also got your hand up.
Yes, I have. Just taking a little bit step back because I've been working through 3060A design and I've been reading through the workbook and doing the activities.
Yes.
Would you suggest that I read the other package, the other student workbook, and then start on the, the portfolio for the 3060A?
So you have
to submit.
Yep, you have to read both of the workbooks before you attempt the assessments. The reason
and
learning materials are separate, but the actual assessments are clustered together. So actually undertaking 2 units of competency right now. So read both.
Okay. Yeah.
Attempt the quizzes as quickly as you can. You do usually.
So sorry. The line's cutting in and out a bit for some weird reason. So after I read both the units, then I should go to, is that the formative assessment stuff?
No. So go to the quizzes.
No. The quizzes.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Down here, attempt your quizzes and then start on portfolio 1.
Okay. And is that the quiz where I have to sort of know huge amount? Because I did a trial quiz in one of the activities and I seemed to have to know really detailed information.
Let me give you you can always refer back to your books. So what some students do is they'll have the quiz and they'll have the book, and they're kind of going between the two as they're attempting the quiz. That's perfectly fine.
Yep. Okay, I'm happy to learn some stuff, but I've got so many flashcards coming out of my brain at the moment.
Fair enough.
Okay, so that gives me a bit of guidance. So I'll just, for myself, I think I'll need to read what's expected in those assignment, those portfolios, and reflect that to what I'm going through at the moment, because I'm hearing,
Thank you, Claire. I'm going to sign off. Log out and put children to bed.
No, Sarah, have a good night.
Thank you.
Alicia, you've got your hand up again?
Yeah, sorry. I'm annoying the shit out of everyone. So with the ones that we do for the peer reviewing,
yes,
they aren't essential to our passing or competency.
No, definitely
not. So we just do those. What is it just for practice, or if we've got spare time, or
if you want to do it? Some students find that sharing what they've learned and looking at what other people have done helps them in their learning journey. Other students just want to go through the book and get the assessments done. Some students start with the assessments and then work backwards. Everyone's a little bit different in their learning style. So, it's what works for you.
Yeah. So on the student portal, the assessment, the formative assessments, they're the ones that we do for the peer review.
Yes.
But the ones that are the portfolios, they're the ones that are the major ones.
Yes. So what's in your assessment upload section right down here?
Yeah.
They're mandatory. You have to do those to progress. But where it's a formative assessment, that is just a practice assessment if you want to do it. If you want to get back on what you've done. But it just depends.
But if we can reassess, if you think that our major assessments aren't any good, we can resubmit.
Yeah, absolutely. As Colleen said, she got 3 attempts.
Submitted 3 times.
Yeah, and then she got a distinction on her 3rd attempt. So if it's not right the first time around, don't stress. Helen or Mohammed will give you feedback on what you need to do to improve or resubmit to be successful. They give that to you in a feedback form, and then you can amend your assignment and resubmit again when you're ready to do that.
Okay.
So
thank you.
You get multiple opportunities to resubmit. It's the same with the quizzes. The quizzes aren't timed, and you can attempt them multiple times as well.
Cool. Okay, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome. Charlie.
Yes, a quick quiz is you just mentioned is untimed, so each question you can spend as much as you want. Is it correct or wrong?
Not timed. So if you have it open on your computer for an hour or two, as long as it doesn't time out, it should be fine. So you can save and exit as many times as you like. Just don't press the submit button until you're ready.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That's fair enough. Thank you.
That's okay. We've all gone a bit quiet.
I don't have really anything else to ask. They're my main things at the minute. So I was just waiting to see if anyone else had some special question, but I think everyone's kind of good.
Yeah.
I might bail out myself and try and get reading on my workbooks and things.
Excellent.
But thank you very much.
Off to a great start. How did you find out about the tutorials? Did you just look at that on Social Space, or did you have a learning support call?
Me?
Yeah. Since you started.
How did I find out? Oh, I just went looking through the handbook thing.
Okay.
Like and the student lounge and all that kind of stuff.
Great.
Like I saw the calendar and I thought I'll just jump on there and.
Great, brilliant.
Yeah, I missed.
Sorry, you go.
You're right. I saw last week there was a Talkfest thing that I missed that one on the 3rd. I was like, that's what I thought I was signing up for the night. But then this has been very helpful in itself. So
yeah, we do conduct regular tutorials. So the first Tuesday of every month, I do a training Talkfest. So it could be any student, any study period. So you could have yourself in study period 1, someone else in study period 3, someone else in study period 9, and we can all have a chat about whatever you like. It's kind of an open forum for anything. Every session.
I think that's maybe what I've got to do in the future. That's already. I'm already worrying about video chats.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that. So then, second Tuesday of every month, we do study period 1 tutorial. And then if you see in the calendar, there are just, sessions popping up all the time. So myself and Mohammed do different sessions throughout the month. So, we want to engage with you as much as you want to engage with us. So, feel free to bring as many questions as you like. We're happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Claire. Good luck, everyone else.
Bye, Alicia.
I appreciate it.
Pamela, you got a question?
Yeah, another question relating to AQF in that area of the handbook.
Yes.
There was an acronym SNR that followed, and I haven't got that reference in front of me at the moment, but there wasn't an actual breakdown of that acronym.
Okay, so it's
SNR.
The Standards of the National Regulator.
Standards of the National Regulator. Okay, I'll write that down so I don't forget. And
kind of two different things there. So the AQF is actually the different levels of certificates or qualifications. So AQF goes from study period 1. I kind of like to envision it like a ladder. You know, so you start
Yep.
certificate 1, certificate 2, certificate 3, certificate 4, a diploma, advanced diploma, a bachelor's degree, a grad cert, grad dip, master's degree, doctorate. I think
Yep.
something. So that's the AQF. Then there was the
Yeah.
TF, which is the Australian
Yep.
Education Training Framework, and that was standards that were put out back in 2007, no, longer than that, 2002, I think, a long time ago. They've had a lot of different versions of the AQTF since then, and it used to be the standards that all RTOs used to abide by,
Yep.
no matter what state the RTO was regulated under. Each state would regulate under the AQTF. Back in 2011, ASCA was implemented, and ASCA is our national regulator. And so all the states except for Victoria and WA, because they like to be difficult, are under ASCA's regulation now. So both WA and Victoria are run, they both regulate their own state. So we had the standards for the national regulator. It's exactly the same as the AQTF, really. They've just rehashed it slightly, changed the numbers and that kind of thing. So it didn't matter really which RTO you worked at, you kind of have a similar system, and it was kind of easy to follow. Starting this year, they've actually brought out the RTO standards 2015. So they've brought everyone back under kind of like the AQTF. Everyone, no matter what regulator you're under, has to follow the RTO standards 2015. And if you look at the AQTF, the SNR, or the RTO standards 2015, they're very similar.
Yeah, I had a look at that video session that Michelle Christie put up as a link with the ASQA.
Yes.
That was really, really helpful. It was long.
Yes.
And it was like, this is government workers for you, isn't it?
Yes.
But I got a lot of information out of that. The one thing that I sort of haven't quite put in place in my mind is the tertiary education side of things.
Okay.
Because they're only going up to the school students and that post-school stuff, whereas the tertiary stuff, even though it still comes under, from what I understand, the quality framework,
absolutely,
it was deferred off to the tertiary branch or something.
So the way I like to see how these things fit into each other is if you can think of 3 houses. Okay, so you've got a small house, it's secondary school, and usually like a grade 10 to grade 12 will relate to a Cert 1, Cert 2.
Yeah.
So there's a house next to that small house, which is a medium-sized house, and that's vocational education and training. Now, we can do anywhere from a certificate 1, 2, 3, 4, diploma, advanced diploma, but then we can also do AQF 7 and 8. So we can actually do graduate diplomas and graduate certificates.
Yep.
Okay. You've got a big house, so that's the tertiary education. Now they'll do 7 to 10. So it's your bachelor's degrees, your graduate certificates, graduate diplomas, masters, doctorates.
Okay, so there's a slight bit of overlap in that 7-8 sort of area.
Yes.
Okay. You've given me a lot of information. It's been both reassuring and overwhelming today, so thank you very much, Claire.
No worries.
Now, I have to brush up my lungs and go and play some music instruments, so I might bow out at the moment, and I'll. But thank you very much for the information.
Message me anytime.
Thank you, Claire.
Charlie, you've got any other questions? Charlie, do you have any other questions?
No, actually it's pretty good, and I'm pretty happy because the only things I'm thinking about that will reflect my previous suggestion is the group discussion, because even it's only have a 10-20% related to me. I learned something. I get some little bits information every time.
Sorry, Charlie.
So maybe maybe that 80% is not related to me, but still 20% is very, very valuable. So, yeah, that's kind of things, but just that time consuming. Each week I get a little bit information and then help me to head the right direction rather than get the wrong direction and waste time. So,
see, I like to see training like a bit like a fruit bowl. You know, there's times where you need an apple and there's times when you need an orange. Now, you know, we give you the whole fruit bowl, but you might be looking at it going, I don't need that pear, I don't need that plum right now. But that's not to say that, you know, 6 months down the track or even 2 or 3 years' time, you actually do need that apple or that pear.
okay, that's my question. Maybe out of scope.
Yes.
We try to. The reason I attended that course is I try to learn the skills and
Yes.
try to deliver training in the near future to the audience.
Yes.
And you have to understand that vocational training is all about just people have a little bit of spare time they put together. They want to learn something.
Yes.
The time is very consumed. So we needed to I try to figure out the way is most effective way to deliver things in this short period of time.
Right. Okay.
I think that should be the ultimate goal of this course as well, because it's you train people is assume they have a full-time job.
Yes.
And then the family life as well. So it's not so they can't afford to waste a lot of time and get less. So they want to spend like 1 hour, they get probably usually 3 hours information, and they can get in the usual learning and
okay.
Period.
So you're more thinking that you want to learn about the training side of things.
I know I'm thinking about how do we, because as I said, each section I attend, I learn a little bit. I mean, just try to figure out how to more effectively if I can learn things in the beginning and it's not in the right direction. Because if I give people the wrong direction, and my audience will upset too. So that's the future.
But Charlie, this is what I said earlier. You can't force the learning. Like we can't know 100% of everything. Like we learn things, but we as under the Malcolm Knowles principle of adult learning, we only learn what's relevant. So whilst we've learned stuff, it's probably in the back of your brain right now. You know, there's things that you're thinking, well, that's not relevant, so you haven't actually, you haven't quite made it fit yet. But it will fit, or it'll come out when your brain needs it to come out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's, you're right.
Yeah. See, I was studying something last year, and I thought, this is really relevant to my job role, so I have to know everything. And I'm sitting there and I'm reading paragraphs and rereading paragraphs, trying to remember everything. And, at the end of it, I just became really frustrated because I'd done a lot of reading and rereading, but I only really took out of that particular content what I needed at the time. So over time, I've learnt to relax a little bit and, read over something and, if something doesn't make sense, I can go back to it later when it becomes relevant. So, for example, I've read the book and now I'm doing the books and I'm now doing the assessment. Now I can go back and reread a section that I need to know about. And that's okay to do. We just can't force it all up front because that's where, it's not fair to ourselves. It's not fair to our brain. We don't operate that way. We're not machines.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't be frustrated because I know I was there. It was about 18 months ago, and I'm reading and rereading this big, thick textbook, and I just thought I need to know everything. But chances are, no, I didn't need to know everything. I just needed to know what was relevant for me at that time. And even now, it's like I can still go back to that book if I want to, if it's relevant for me right now or for my job. But or there's things that I've learned and I've kind of left it in the back of my brain. And someone will ask me something and it's like, hang on, I remember that. Hang on, let me think about it. Oh, and then I'll be able to answer, but it's not in the forefront of my brain at all times. We just have to, it's a bit like a wave. We kind of have to let things, seed and reseed when needed.
One other thing, maybe you can share your previous experience with us.
Sure.
I'm being engaged to provide in the future, in the near future, provide training to a private college.
Okay.
So they have a two. No, the course I will take on was a brand new course.
Okay.
To develop, right? I haven't used it. I will deliver. I will be the guy to deliver the course to the broad audience.
Yeah.
And we have existing, some of the existing course, right? They've been delivered to the audience for the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
So should I pick up which course I should pick up because they overlap with the new course maybe has some components from old. So which I should pick up old course they already delivered to audience to do the assessment or pick up the new course which I supposed to deliver to the audience. For that portfolio.
I don't think you should mind either way because you can do the same like training session or course, to 5 different groups of people, and they might all be from the same organisation, just different people within the same team, and each session will be so different. You obviously you're training the same content. And that's the beauty about training. Every day is different. So whether you're training old content or an old course that's been around for a while, whether you're training a brand new one that nobody's ever seen before, either way, you're still going to have a really great experience as a trainer because the students is what makes the class.
Okay. Should I pick up one subject or I pick up, because the course probably have a 20 subject, I only need to pick one subject for my assessment, right? Or portfolio one or something.
It depends. I've always kind of been able to go from one thing to the other fairly quickly. If you're training things that you intimately know, you've been in that industry for a long time, you understand the concepts well, you should be able to hop from one session to another fairly quickly. There'll be maybe some commonalities in some sessions, maybe not. But I think it's okay to go from, one session to another. If you want to do the same content, that's perfectly fine as well, because as I said, each day is going to be different. The students, are going to make that session. So, if it was me, I'd like to mix it up a bit. I don't like doing the same thing all the time. But that being said, I've been training TA for the last 2 years. So I suppose in that way, I have had a lot of commonality for a while. I think either fine is fine, Charlie.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You just have to prepare beforehand. Check your facilitator's guide and just go over your notes again just before the session. Usually you get in early before everyone else arrives, and you get set up, and you can kind of go over your notes and make sure that you're ready for the day. Have a cup of tea or coffee, and then start your session.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Chantal, how are you?
I'm good. I don't know if you can hear me.
I certainly can.
Oh, I hope you can't see me as well.
No, it's only me. I'm the only one sharing my screen.
Cool. Sorry, it said 7:30 on my invite. How much have I missed?
We started at 6:30.
Yeah,
at 6:30.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe I'll join the next one.
Sure. We've got another one coming up. Is it next week?
I think so, yeah. Sorry about that. I'll disconnect now. I'll catch up with you on the next one.
Did you have any questions that you want to ask? We're just having an open conversation right now.
I'm really terrible. I haven't even started. I've got no motivation whatsoever. So, short answer, no. Maybe just to kick up the bum, please.
Okay, we can do that. We can certainly do that for you.
Yeah, I'll dial into the next one. I'll shoot you an email, but yeah, I'll dial into the next one.
Okay, we'll see you soon. Bye, Chantal. Oh, you're going to head out now, Charlie? Oh, he's gone. Okay.